couple of weeks ago, I did a video about a new module I had created for a custom action for Monk's Active Tiles. Since I figured out how to do that, I've now created a new module that is a collection of various custom action utilities for Monk's Active Tiles. I've rolled that previous region behavior one into this bundle, so I'll no longer be updating that one. It's still available, it still works, you can install it. But any updates now will just be for this collection. The link for it will be down in the description. So we got about we've got 5 new custom actions, and I'm sure as time goes on, I'll add more. So first one is, of course, the region behavior control, same as what was shown in the previous video. So I won't go over that one again, but I've also added 4 others. So the first one is an improved tile rotation action. As many of you know, when you rotate a tile and that rotation reaches or passes the 0/360 mark of rotation, it will flip and rotate the other way. I've done a previous video where I came up with a workaround for it, but it was a rather complex and cumbersome one to use. Now, this one, as you can see, it can rotate past 360 in either direction, and it animates just fine. The only limitation of this is the total amount of rotation that you're doing has to be less than 180 degrees. So up to 179 degrees in either direction, and it'll work just fine. At 180 degrees, you get a coin toss as to which way it'll rotate. And at more than 180 degrees, it will always go in the opposite direction that you want. And it's because it always goes the shortest path. And at 180 degrees, there is no shortest path, so it flip-flops. And more than 180 degrees, and the shortest path is always the opposite direction of the way that you want to go. So just keep that in mind. But like this one here is rotating at 179 degrees and passing 360. As you can see, it always rotates in the direction that you want it to rotate without any problems. So no longer messing around with all kinds of complex workarounds or, having to do your rotation instantaneously because the animations mess up. So that's been taken care of. Then for D&D 5e, being able to deal typed damage to tokens. Before now, you'd either use heal harm, which didn't do type damage, or you use attack, which didn't work with meaty QOL. So I've created one. This custom action will not appear on your custom action list if you don't have the D&D 5e system as your system for the current world. But basically, I have all these tokens. This token here is immune to non-magical bludgeoning damage. This one is immune to all bludgeoning damage, including magical. And this one is resistant to bludgeoning damage. So the damaged tile does magical bludgeoning damage. So this one here, he takes normal damage, even though he's immune to bludgeoning damage, but only non-magical bludgeoning damage. Then we come down here, we do this one. He's immune. And this one is resistant. Then another one that I did is trigger random tile. And so every time I click on here, it triggers a different random tile in the group. Also, it passes the triggering information from this tile to the random tile that's triggered. So if it's triggered by a token, the random tile that gets triggered will know which token triggered it. And then also store roll result. So it calls for a roll, and it stores that result in a variable, which you can then use for whatever you want to use on the tile. All right. So I will show you the list of actions. From down here, there's a new category, FoundryFan utilities, damage tokens, which requires 5e, region behavior control, rotate tile, store roll result, and trigger random tile. Store roll result Roll requests come from, where is it here? Monk's token bar, request roll, request contested roll. So if Monk's token bar isn't active, store roll result will not appear on the list. So if a necessary system or module for an action doesn't exist, it won't appear on the list. So it will prevent any confusion. So we look at damage tokens here. I don't know why that disappeared. It might be a bug. I don't know. Weird. It was working. So maybe just a text glitch. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. Damage formulas. It'll do roll formulas. It'll do handlebar expressions. You can put in literal numbers, variables, whatever you want. Oh, that's not a bug. I thought I was clicking on the actual previous one. This is a new action. So of course it's blank. I'm just stupid. Okay, so you can put in the damage type or no type. If it's typed damage, then it will also get the option to bypass based on magical, silvered, or adamantine. Something to be aware of, these bypasses are only for physical damage. And this is a D&D 5e thing. This isn't, I just didn't feel like doing it. So it's only bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing that these bypasses work for. So like I started to record a video where I demonstrated using acid damage and the bypass didn't work. So yeah, those only apply, those only function in the D&D 5e rules if it is a physical damage type. By the way, that's all been removed in the 2024 5.5 edition. There are no longer any creatures that have like a special bypass or vulnerability to like silvered weapons or adamantine weapons. They've all been removed. And then you can show the chat summary of the damage. And if you show the chat summary, you can optionally make it also visible to players. All right, and you can do the standard, select an entity with a targeting reticle, triggered tile, tiles within, tokens within the tile, player tokens, current actions, and tags. So all the standard stuff. What else we have here? Region behavior control covered in the other video. Rotate tile, very simple, just like the other rotate. Now, the other rotate action also does tokens. This one I designed, it only works on tiles. I just wanted to keep it simple, and I've never run into a situation where I needed to use the rotate token thing. And in a lot of circumstances, tokens are rotation locked. So you'd get unpredictable results in that anyway. So I just, rather than deal with that headache, I just did rotate tile only. And again, you can put in like handlebar expressions and things like that for rotation. Store roll result, pretty simple. You put in the name of the variable you want the roll result to be stored in. If you don't put one in, it will use the default my roll result. Something to be aware of, because the information that comes back from a requested roll is a value, and as discussed in previous videos, values are transitory, they're temporary. So you always want to put the store roll result right after the roll so that that information is still valid. If you do a bunch of things and then put this in, you may not be able to retrieve the roll result because it may not exist anymore at that point, or it may have changed. And then we come down here to trigger random tile. Your random tiles can be a part of a group. They can be tagged, or you can double click and enter in a comma separated list of tile IDs. If you put in a landing name, it will trigger the tile at that landing. If you don't put anything in, it will just start from the top of the action list of the tile and go down. If you put in a landing name that doesn't exist, it will look for failed landing, the default landing that I covered in the last video. If that doesn't exist, it will not trigger the tile at all. So you've got a bunch of random tiles. Some of them have the landing and some of them don't, and they don't have the failed landing, then they just won't trigger those tiles. Okay. And I think that covers everything. Again, the link for the FoundryFan utilities will be down in the description. It's up on GitHub. It's also on Bailey Wiki's modules list. If you have any suggestions, well, if you have any bugs or problems you run into, obviously let me know. But also, if you have any suggestions of other custom actions that I can add in, ways to get around having to work with macros, a lot of these are macros that I had previously created for my Traps and Puzzles module and now made them more convenient to use. Hop onto my Discord. I have an ideas and suggestions channel. Hop in there, throw me your ideas and suggestions. And again, let me know if you run into any bugs. I've tested all of this on version 13. Version 14, I've tested a couple of them, but I have not fully tested it. So your results may vary under version 14. Blah. And I think that's about it. Hopefully you guys found this interesting and helpful. Have a good one.